So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So it's an honor to moderate also, right? So let me be honest and fair. This is the first time that I'm moderating. I have given a lot of keynote speaking and also in the panel. This is the first time that I'm moderating. The way that I have seen people do moderating, I'll try my best to moderate. The topic is very interesting. It talks about India embrace its digital decade and digital trust. For me, as I said, trust is always bidirectional, right? It's not a unidirectional, right? So when I say trust, trust from technology, trust from my partners. When I say partners, whether it is my customers, whether it is my vendor, whether it is my, colleagues in different departments, right? So it all about boils down to trust to cyber security, to technology, to innovation. So all these together come down to a digital future India. Taking that clue, I have my experts and colleagues who are champions in this particular subject, Mr. Nikhil and Mr. Tejas, right? Yes. So my first question, Mr. Tejas and Nikhil, would you like to introduce yourself and tell more about your organization, your journey? Then probably we will have a very cool conversation rather than having a questionnaire and session.
Good evening, everyone. Absolutely pleasure and attending first time Business World session. So obviously I'm glad. So over 21 years of experience, I'm managing cybersecurity, infra, and a lot of things over a period of time. I have been managing everything related to information technology. And to add on that, I've been part of different verticals. So started with, I had been part as a banking and then education, now into manufacturing. So having said that, I think cyber security, or you can say information technology, is a backbone for any organization. So that's how my total experience counts, and happy to be part of this panel discussion. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Tejas. Thank you, BW Business World, for this opportunity. And I'll introduce myself. I'm Nikhil. I look at a particular product at IDfy. IDfy is a regulatory technology organization that has been around for about 14 years. With each inflection point in regulation, be it KYC, be it digital adoption, sort of as the country has seen over the last few years, we've been fortunate to be able to contribute meaningfully to that sort of digital transformation that we've seen the country go through. At IDfy particularly, I look at Privy, which is a full stack privacy and data governance solution, one of its kind, first to market in this country, and yeah, that's what I bring to the table today.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting, right? So let me open the lens of policies and governance. So my first question, Mr. Tejas, with this DPDP Act now live, how can India strike the right balance between privacy, innovation and growth? What's your view on this?
So I think obviously in the last panel, I think a lot of discussion has been already done on DPDP Act. For my personal view as an organization managing cyber security and information technology, for us, if you see as an organization, it is too soon to do some maybe implementation or some practice. Obviously, we are in talks with various partners on how to be ready. So first step is how to be ready for this DPDP Act. So I think first step would be the assessment part. So where your current organization is standing is the first step towards DPDP Act, wherein assessment would be done in terms of at what level you are ready, and then what, let's say if Act is in a picture. So then what all steps has to be taken? So there are various partners helping in terms of assessments, and then what is the action plan if let's say it comes in picture. They will also give us various roadmap on what all things are you currently not doing, or there are various checklists which are available with them. So that is how I would take one step at a time, and then the innovation and then the overall next action items will come in. So that's how I see as a roadmap for this DPDP Act.
Yeah, I think this is wonderful. So, Nikhil, what's your view on this?
No, I think just on the act, I think there are two dimensions to look at this, right? There is nuances of the Indian Act compared to the global laws. And plus there's nuances of India as sort of the country that we are in, right? Large sizable population, there are instances where a single device, a mobile phone gets used in a household by various people. These might be of different age groups. They might understand different languages. And therefore, as somebody innovates for this space, right, to build for the context of not just the act's reading, but also as you apply this to the lives that we live today, not just in urban India, but sort of transcend that to the most remotest of villages. I think that impact is going to be all pervasive once we're able to bridge that gap, right? And just speaking of nuances that the Indian Act really poses in terms of, I think languages is one part of it. But it does force the sort of onus of almost like the burden of proof lives with the enterprise or the fiduciary in this case. I think which is again a marked departure from how global laws have been sort of formulated. So those are two, I would say, really sort of important aspects. And lastly, I'll take a sort of a word from the previous panel to say, while there is civil liability, criminal liability, I think it forces us to really think about how would you sort of stand in front of an adjudicatory body like the Data Protection Board and really demonstrate not just compliance, but demonstrate the controls that you might have within the organization across data movement, across consents, so on and so forth. So those are three things that come to my mind in terms of the act's reading and innovation that might lead to it.
After listening both of you, impromptu it comes to my mind that now we have a clear lens, right? Both of you have, addressed and clear the lens. Now, if I take this opportunity to move from principle to practice. So if I say, how do I practice my cybersecurity? Taking that clue, my next question, Tejas, to you would be, how can we practically blend global standards like ISO 27000 with Indian own framework to build stronger cyber resilience? What's your view on this?
I think very important and very critical for any organization point of view. ISO 27001 is one of the, you can say, baseline or you can say framework, which obviously as we say, I am currently implementing it for my organization, and in my previous organization also we had implemented. So let's say if we take an example of ISO 27001, there is a lot of things which will be part for data protection and cyber security, protection. So for example, a basic thing like there are a lot of controls has to be in place. For example, let's say as an organization, a local, or you can say basic thing is, are you doing a data encryption or disk encryption? Are you doing a data masking? Are you doing, let's say, a partner management is there? Are you doing a NDA? Are you taking a employees, I agree sign off saying that these are the list of activities wherein you will not share data. So taking these 3-4 example in this consideration, I think ISO 27001 is, I think, very important, or maybe we can say a stepping stone for this cyber awareness, or you can say for the organization. So obviously regular audits will come in picture, year 2 audits will come in picture, but to ensure that these audits, whenever they are there, we need to ensure that we have this evidences in this place. So there are more than, I think, 110 controls in place, and there is a lot of yearly reviews that has to be happened. There is log reviews that has to be in place. So as I think I would definitely recommend it, or you can say, I think any organization should at least start with this ISO 27001 as a basic practice to ensure that cyber security is in place, and then obviously data protection will come in hand to hand, and then there are a lot of other frameworks which are available. But this is the, I think, basic thing which we can go for it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nikhil, what's your view on this?
Sure. I think we spoke of ISO. I think even in the data protection privacy world, there are standards for PIMS. There's 27701. But I think if I were to delineate between cyber and privacy as sort of two kids, right? I think we know that privacy has been like the sotela bacha wala vyavahar has sort of that's been the case over so many years. But I think with the advent of the act, there is obviously renewed interest in people taking this seriously and also using this as an opportunity to not just look at a certification for compliance, but to sort of almost transcend that and say, hey, can I think of this as a growth driver, as something to gain credibility, which is what the ethos of an ISO standard might actually truly begins with, right? So in the work that we've been doing, I think the certification process is sort of evolving beyond just saying, hey, can I just do these 10 things? But can I truly demonstrate sort of accountability, not just at the CISO or the DPO level, but how can it sort of percolate throughout the organization? It needs to be sort of top down. Can the right CXO really sort of drive it? But if it reaches the bottommost, and just picking a sort of a pen from what you were saying around the controls, if it reaches the last person in the organization, that's where actually I think the weakest link is, and if you're able to reach there, that's when the true value of that certification really comes through.
I think a lot of other initiatives in cyber security has to be taken care. So I think let's say dark web monitoring, external surface management, VAPT, a lot of things as an organization, what are their priorities, that has to be taken care. So ISO will give certain standards, but then to maintain that, there are a lot of tools has to be implemented. So for that, change management has to be there. There has to be, so various different level, you can say controls will be available. And for that, you have to also ensure that different products and tools has to be purchased at the organization level to ensure that data has been saved. And as rightly said, the weakest link is obviously the employee and the partners or the third-party vendors. That has to be taken care. So awareness is one thing of cyber awareness is also one thing where it has to be taken care for, let's say, in-person sessions or maybe phishing or something has to be in place, so that at the employee level they are aware, at the management level they are aware that how well versed is the organization in terms of awareness of cyber security.
Yeah, so at the core we all are engineers. So my out of the way box questions, right? Because it triggers me now. After listening to policy, governance, compliance, can I ask you your technologist view, right? As a technology, because ultimately all boils down to executions, right? So the policies, governance, compliances, all are there, right? But as a technologist, as a data guy, how do you execute all those on the field? When I say field, in your organizations. So my questions, Tejas, to you, what role do AI, blockchain and zero trust model playing in shaping a secure, trusted digital workspace, whether it is in your organizations or your view, how it can be support for India?
Hyped, or you can say talked about topic is AI, agentic AI. So that is one thing which every organization is currently looking at. So either ways, if you see people are trying to get in some chatbots or some AI agent wherein auto answer has been given to the employees. Many organizations has already adopted for external customers, saying that how AI is giving answers to them just like a prompt. As I can say, as a technology, I think AI is already been implemented at various levels. So even if you see, if you take any product, a basic product like Microsoft, they also are giving Copilot as a one of the feature as an organization. So if you see any firewalls, if you see any application, any SaaS-based application, they already have an inbuilt tool for AI. So I mean to say, AI is already available in various forms, in various application. Second phase, I would say that how do you place AI as an enterprise level? So for employees, that is one portion, and for the end users, or you can say for the customers, That is second portion. So that is AI, which I would say that it is still various solutions which are available. And then I would say chatbots, or I think SFA, that would be again a part of AI. But I think bottom line is, if you are using AI, it has to be either for employees, internal, or the organization, and for the customers. That is what I can advise.
Nikhil, what's your view on this?
Yeah. No, I think technology, as you know, somebody who's been a builder and sort of looked at building solutions for not just DPDP, but the rather larger privacy data governance sort of world, I think tools and technology will continue to evolve. And you spoke of the word PETs, and I think of this as privacy enabling technologies, because privacy enhancing would just sort of silo it into masking and anonymization. I think of this slightly more broadly. And in the way that I think privacy enabling technology can help an enterprise, I would bucket this into sort of three sort of pillars, right? Sort of marrying this to the reading of the act and the rules. There's pillar number one is just everything to do with consent, given how the act is really sort of forward on this. So understanding notices just in time, breaking them down, really sort of forcing ourselves to think, you know, one org, one privacy policy, how do I deconstruct it into a bunch of privacy notices that are contextual, that come to the user, the employee, the vendor, and then how do I manage that life cycle, not just from a collection perspective, but beyond that, from that entire sort of life cycle. So that's pillar number one in the way that I look at this. Number two is, we did cover this in the previous session, is stuff around data. So the quality of data, the governance of data, how do you discover, classify, all of that. And again, a bunch of technology gets applied there. I would say these two sort of merge in the middle, where we speak about the demonstrability angle, which is, can I do assessments better? Can I pre-fill some stuff? And here I'm not sort of questioning AI, rather I'm using it appropriately. We've seen the advent of AI, I think over the last 2 years, we've seen something as basic as a RAG. How do you really, it has moved away from being experimental to now really being used as part of product development. So how do you ensure that the AI model that you're using gives you the same answer even after you query it multiple times, right? That's one of the risks. There's risks on, as people spoke about, how do you ensure that it's not leaking PII or you're not giving it PII. So just coming back to the middle, there's assessments, there's third party, and then there is sort of incident and breach, and again, it got spoken of. So that's, I think, I would say, enablement of technology in the middle. And in true AI spirit, it all comes together for a DPO role in case these worlds are speaking to each other, right? So as I uncover new data, do I need to do a DPIA or should I trigger it? If I've found a new vendor I've onboarded or I'm churning away from one, should I ensure that data is deleted there so that then I can update my ROPA and ensure that the notice that goes out to the next person coming in is updated as well, right? So these three, as they sort of speak to each other, I think there is almost an analytical or like a connective tissue between these three worlds that then sort of closes the loop on the technology enablement that anybody might need to be able to sort of solve this challenge in front of them.
I think brilliant. So today, the entire day, I was listening on this data piece, right? So the entire day was lot of data, lot of data. So Gen AI and Agentic AI, both are now brothers, right? So they are going together. So while Gen AI is generating a lot of data, Agentic AI is using, where Gen AI is a muscle, Agentic AI is working as a memory to build in context, right? So there are, when I look at this from the privacy perspective, from the compliance perspective, for me, transparency, ethics, and accountability. These are the three fundamental core belief of any pillar that we are building while you are building the data structure, right? So it has to be transparent. We're transparent across the organizations. Ethics, which is no question asked, right? Ethics is ethics. And accountability. So somebody has to take accountability. It is not the auditor who is accountable or the person who is accountable. The person, the hierarchy, the entire hierarchy is accountable, right? So keeping that in mind, there is a very thin line between CXOs and CISO and DPO, right? they all are working for a common organizational goal. So policy, governance, everything will only happen, not only for the legal guy or the auditor. So this is a very, clutter kind of questions that coming to my mind. So I would like to, because you guys are experts, so I'd like to understand how can CISO and DPO functions work together proactively beyond compliances to strengthen the entire risk management portfolio for the organizations. So what's your view? Because Tejas and Nikhil, I heard you. What's your view how both of them, CISO and DPO, can work proactively, not reactively? What's your view on this?
So I think very tricky question. Probably proactively could be maybe we can maybe let's say we need to first of all see where are the data been residing currently. So probably we need to take a fresh look and a lot of things on what all data is currently been there, how much is there, and where is it getting used. That is how DPO can look into and ensure that how data is being used. And I think probably as a CISO we would be more interested in how the data is getting secured and not getting leaked. Maybe it is getting protected, I would say, and it is not getting properly protected by maybe ransomware or something like a malware. So more of CISO's role would be protecting data at the boundary level, and DPO's role would be managing data in terms of how the data is getting consumed, how the data is getting given to the senior management. But obviously as a proactiveness, there are a lot of steps need to be done, and I think step by step, I think once we see that how the data has been placed at somewhere, and then accordingly need to act and protect. I think that's how I can see.
I think that's great. Yeah.
No, I'll just add to this. I think there are DPOs in this room, and I think what is really prevalent now is, it has to become a sort of a boardroom agenda. It needs to be a CXO problem, because if the data breach occurs, then while the DPO may or may not lose their job, but the CXO's name is going to be plastered in the news. So I think it's not a compliance sort of a problem statement. I think there is trust, there's control, there's accountability. These are the three things that I think the CXOs need to be sort of sensitized to, and sort of get that buy-in from the top, and then also then enable it across the sort of board. So if a DPO or a CISO is doing that, I think then they've got the right budgets, then they've got the right teams working for them. Yeah, that's my sort of 2 cents on this.
So the previous panel, I was listening very carefully. So it's an interesting topic which came out is synthetic data and inference data, right? So these are the two new animal on the planet which is coming very heavily to all of us, right? And I'm sure it's a brilliant conversing both of you, and I'm opening this for any questions from the audience if you would like to ask any question, because my experts are here. I think thank you so much. It's a wonderful speaking both Nikhil and Tejas, and this is the first time that I was moderating. I can
Good debut to you as well.
Yeah. But believe me, I really enjoyed talking to both of you, and much more success which will come on the way for both of you gentlemen. Thank you so much.